You're not trying to control her. You're trying to control the version of you she sees. Because if she really sees you, not the good man, not the calm man, the story you've been performing starts to crack. That's why you minimize. That's why you explain. That's why you go quiet or get defensive. Not because you don't care, but because ego is protecting you from seeing yourself clearly. And I still catch myself doing this. Women feel that collapse instantly long before you do. And listen, I didn't understand this until my relationship was bleeding in my hands. I wasn't trying to control her, I was trying to control reality so I didn't have to feel the pain of seeing who I actually was in that moment. That's the trap most men never escape. Not because they're bad, but because no one teaches them how ego behind being the good guy, how it sabotages connection quietly, and how presence only begins when control ends. You're not broken, you're untrained. And once you see this, you won't be able to hide behind the mask again. The line that broke my whole identity wasn't dramatic, it wasn't shouted, it was simple. You think you're not angry, but you are. I can see it. And brother, that cut deeper than being yelled at. Because what she said wasn't an attack, it was exposure. She was naming the emotion I worked my whole life to hide. And in that moment, my ego wasn't protecting me from her, it was protecting me from myself. My ego didn't crack in one big scene, it broke in stages. One of them was sitting in the car saying words I never imagined I'd say. If you see me as the villain, I won't fight you on it anymore. Not sarcastic, not emotional, just surrender. It wasn't defeat. It was the first honest moment I'd had with myself in years. Because the truth is, I wasn't fighting her. I was fighting the possibility that I wasn't the supportive, selfless, good man I thought I was. That identity was everything to me. And once it cracked, I could finally see the truth sitting underneath it. The mask I clung to the hardest was this. I'm the supportive partner. I show up, I put in effort, I go out of my way. But it wasn't real. It was kindness with strings. Kindness that kept score. Kindness that protected my image more than it protected her heart. Because when she said, "You humiliated me," I didn't hear her pain. I heard a threat to my identity. So instead of owning it, I said the ugliest version of the truth. Well, if you didn't do X, this would have never happened. That was blame disguised as logic. That was ego disguised as innocence. That was a man who couldn't face the simple truth. I messed up, and she was hurt. When she said I don't feel valued, she wasn't saying you don't do enough. What she was actually saying was, I'm hurting and I don't know how to reach you. And my ego twisted it into an attack because it touched the part of me I hadn't learned to face yet. And when she said, you retreat, you shut down, she wasn't accusing me of being a bad man. She was describing the moment my identity collapsed and my ego took the wheel. Because here's the truth, your ego doesn't hear words. And once the ego feels threatened, it does what it always does. Explain, defend, minimize, freeze, blame, justify anything to avoid the sting of the truth. But brother, that sting is the doorway. The pain you're running from is the exact pain that would free you and deepen your connection to her. And the moment I stopped defending who I wanted to be was the first moment she finally felt the man I actually was. Presence didn't hit me like a movie scene. It happened in a small moment. She was expressing hurt. Normally, I'd brace, defend, explain, protect my character. But this time, I didn't. I listened. I let her words land without building my case in my head. I didn't correct her memory. I didn't justify my intentions. And I watched something I've never seen before. Her face softened. She felt me, not the performance me. Presence isn't calmness, it's not stillness, it's not neutrality. It's when your soul shows up because your ego finally steps aside. The truth I avoided for years was this: I wasn't emotionally safe, even though I wasn't toxic. I didn't yell, I didn't cheat, I didn't call names, but I defended. I minimized, I retreated, I froze, I weaponized kindness. Good intentions don't make you a safe man. Presence does. And presence starts when you stop performing an identity and start listening to the mirror your relationship is trying to hold up. Your ego mask isn't protecting you, it's isolating you. It's the reason you don't get the connection you crave. It's the reason conflict feels like war instead of healing. It's the reason your woman doesn't feel chosen even when you're trying. But if you can unclench for one moment, if you can let the image drop, if you can let her words hit you without defending the man you wish you were, you will access a presence most men never taste. Not because they can't, but because they won't let themselves see the truth. Presence is the way out. Presence is the foundation of emotional safety. Presence is the beginning of real love. And I promise you this: once you feel it, you'll never, never go back to the mask again.